IPP plan. Uh, it's really tough to establish it with so many players, but you don't got to be perfect at it. So IPP plan is an individual performance plan. Basically, getting to what you were talking about. Identify performance issues that need improvement. All right. So we're basically identifying your strength, your weakness within your strength, and your weakness. You explain the level that you expect. You supply the drills, routines, mental approach. Now I'm a trainer, so that like makes it easy for me. But most stuff just takes reps. I mean, if you're not good with your left hand, how do you, like, kids ask me that, you almost laugh in your head. How do I get better with my left hand? You use it. You use it. And so you schedule progress meetings for the player. You outline consequences. I'm kind of going through this fast just for the sake of time. And then if you meet the standards, you increase it or you create a new IPP plan. So this would be that. The performance would be become a better finisher in traffic, and off the dribble. So you explain this is the expected performance. You currently shoot 35% from two. I need you to shoot 50% by December. So that forces a kid to do what level of scoring? Level 1 and level 2, right? I mean, you would think, or you tell him specifically if he doesn't get the gist. So you supply drills. Hey, work on 3 different 2-foot footwork finishes. Most kids at the varsity level have 3 finishes. They have a Euro, they have a 1-2, right? And they have one sort of 2-foot finish. All right. So there's more than that. I think if you want to be an authority in the paint, you need at least 7 finishes. So kids haven't really thought of that. That could be something if y'all want it when we're outside, I can show you. And you could say, hey, you're going to make 20 from any different spot if you got to design it for them. Because a lot of times kids go from those layup angles and they think they're working layups, and that's not what good teams are going to give you. So you schedule a progress meeting at Christmas break. Let's talk about it. The consequences, if you're still below 50%, which means you didn't work, because here's the reality. If you work, you'll get better at it, whatever you're going to work at. And so then, hey, there's consequences. Hey, maybe you shouldn't be the wing for us. Maybe you got to play the post where you're already down there, right? Like your skill set this is where you're at. And I'm not saying you're always going to be there, but maybe you don't get to play a position less. So, and that's kind of how, now that I said that, that's kind of how you want kids to treat it. I have, kids junior high, and dad's like, hey, they just play me at post because I'm tall. And I was like, well, you look like a post. Like the decisions you make, your footwork, your agility, it looks like a post when I watch you. And you think that me playing you at guard is going to get you better. It'll get you marginally better, but you got to get better on purpose. Kevin Durant's 6'11". Nobody thinks he's a 4 or 5. All right. LeBron can play point. So it's like, it's not your size. If you had the skill and you look this way through your repetitions, you could play a position less. Because when a coach is turning the ball over, he don't care who can get that ball up court and not turn it over. It don't matter how tall you are. So this is just a progression that I would say. I was like, look, to me, this is my honest opinion. You look like a 4 when I watch you play. Your goal from now until November is for me to say you look like a 4-3, right? Because every position you go less of, like going up, you've gained more skills. So then I want you to look like a 3-4. Then by the end of the year, maybe you look like just a 3. Like you got a good triple threat game. Maybe you can't dribble up the court and stuff, but you could play out a triple threat. You can attack from the perimeter. You can do those things. And then, hey, our next year, 3-2, 2-3, and then the kids can see progress. This is how important it is to show a kid, progress. This is a good analogy. If I gain weight, let's say I gain weight in my stomach first, then my legs, then my fingers. All right. When you lose weight, you can't spot reduce, or else all gum chewers would have skinny faces. All right. So what that means is when I start losing weight, the process is my rings are going to fit different first. Then I know I'm on my way. That's how it's important, because if you don't know the process, what happens is, man, I've been working out for a month, eating this, stuff made from the ground, and I still got my gut. And you're just like, yeah, but your rings are fitting different. So next, your legs are going to get smaller, then your stomach. That's how you gain weight, so that's how you're going to lose it. And the same thing with kids. You have to get it at a place where I think a lot of kids think, man, if he would just play me here. And wishful thinking disrupts so many things, because wishful thinking becomes more true than the actual truth. I had a group that was older, 17U. I said, hey, look, we need to get you guys better because y'all are going to go to TABC. I mean, I don't know if y'all been there. I take CHSA there. There are literally almost more coaches than there are players at TABC. It's crazy. I was like, so y'all need to prepare from March until then when you go to TABC to perform well. Now, this isn't my team. These are guys on other teams, different high schools. I was like, But y'all think the reason you're not getting a scholarship is because I'm not taking you to the right tournaments. So what do you need to work on when you go home? Nothing, because the reason you're not getting a scholarship is because of how I'm scheduling. I'm telling you that, like, people pay me to analyze talent, and you can't consistently show any skill that's going to make a coach want you on their roster to help them keep their job. That's the truth. The truth is you have to get better. But their wishful thinking and that car ride home that they tell the parents, because the kid is usually the smartest kid in basketball in the household. So the mom is just like, oh, so you just need to go to another team then that's going and getting this. And that's where they're doomed, because the wishful thinking has become more true than the actual truth. Instead of getting better, you think you need to be here with all these coaches. And then the moment you have your opportunity, you don't have a skill to say, hey, look at me. And so that's really what kids have to be careful of. I'm going to skip over that. I think we know what IPP is. But basically what I'm saying is, it can be improvement based, attitude. All right, hey, let's watch film and and I think this should be the baseline first when you start watching film with your kid, is you should see who he is as a person. Basketball, sports, if your kid really loves it, basketball just means as much to them and them getting cut as you losing your job. Same feeling. So adversity isn't going to build character, it's going to reveal it. So when bad things happen, when adversity happens on the court, who does your son become? I think you should watch that first, because God willing, we're all going to be ex-players much longer than we're going to be current ones. I mean, in a few years, Michael Jordan is probably creeping up on that number pretty soon here. So that's the truth. So what became of my son as he was looking to get good at whatever this sport is? Man, whenever they lose, whenever he's wide open for a three and they don't hit him, look at his shoulders. He stops communicating with his team. He stops leading. I think recognizing that and then deciding to respond is way more important. I had when I was in college, we had a guy on our team. He was a big man, about 7 foot. He was tall, and he was recruited to rebound and block shots. This is the time when I wasn't a great leader, and I throw him the ball. He'd be wide open. He'd fumble it out of bounds. Man, John, catch the ball. And he wasn't very mentally tough. So guess what he stopped doing? He didn't catch the ball all of a sudden. He didn't all of a sudden start doing a skill that he never had. What he stopped doing is he stopped rebounding, he stopped running for, he stopped blocking shots. Again, I played under some really good coaches. Coach Marlin comes to me and he's like, all right, Jejuan, you see what becomes of John when you get on him? And I'm just like, yeah, man, he's just not getting it done. He's like, yeah. He was like, so do you think you should keep doing what you're doing, or should you take a different approach? And so he's like, I think you need to think about how you're going to respond the next time this happens instead of how you react, because your reaction isn't helping him. And so I went home and I was like, all right, next time John drops a pass, it was completely scripted. I'm going to say, hey, my bad. That was too hot. I'm going to throw a better pass next time. We're playing McNeese. We actually need to win this game. I dropped the ball off to John. He fumbles it out of bounds. And I'm all my might. I'm just like, John, my bad. That was too hot. I threw it out of bounds. Don't worry, JP. I'm going to catch the next one. He did not catch the next one, but he kept running the floor. He kept blocking shots, and we won. And that's pretty much the first time where I realized, I was like, hold on. If I can regulate my emotions, I can control a lot more than I realized. And that was a huge turning point for me in terms of me becoming a leader. And I think that is why people like me now. It's like nobody, to be honest, when I go to my gym, I got a couple guys that help me out at the gym. One of them's like 6'3". He went to Trinity, Texas Lutheran. Nobody cares about my career. All they care about is when Jejuan teaches my kid, does he get better? Nobody really goes back and say, like, what did you do and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, the person that they see is really who they're investing in. So, hold on, let's see. Perfect. All right, so with all that being said, so sometimes you got to look at their attitude, their leadership, court performance. It could be anything. It could be a voice recording. Hey, I want you to get better at blah, 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 this, that, and the other. So there's different ways to do it. Team performance plan. These are outlining areas that you want to cover. We'll talk about that when we get outside a little bit. You're creating standards for your team that you expect of them. Explain the consequences for us not doing a certain thing. So I kind of explain it here. Again, I got other stuff I want to get to, so I'm going to kind of skip over it. Those are just examples. And then after this, you have your yearly performance plan. Your yearly performance plan should coincide with your team performance plan. So